Welcome on board. This will be an extremely important conversation, especially for individuals who are aspiring to join the customs service in Sri Lanka, because an important milestone will be achieved tomorrow when the very first batch of postgraduate degree holders will be graduating because of a very special course that has seen the light here in Lanka. Now, speaking in this regard, we have two very special individuals. We have Professor David Widdowson of the Centre of Customs and Excise Studies in the University of Canberra, as well as Mr. Ravindra Kumar, the Deputy Director of Sri Lanka Customs. Welcome on board. It's a pleasure having both of you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Indeed, yes. Now, we were speaking about the importance of the customs service, especially when you speak of a country, especially like over here in Sri Lanka. If you can first brief us, Professor David Widdowson, as to how exactly, how difficult it was, especially to qualify and make sure that this can be recognized as a career internationally, and then how difficult it was to bring it over here to Sri Lanka, introduce it, and then try to give it the proper recognition.
Okay, well, this has been going on for some time. It's been, I started with the Australian Customs Service in 1977, so it's something that's dear to my heart. And something that has always occurred to me is that customs has never been seen to be a profession, like accounting or engineering, law, etc. And so about 13 years ago we embarked on this process of establishing customs as an academic profession. And we spoke to the World Customs Organisation, headquartered in Brussels in 2004. And it's been a very, very long process, very slow process, tedious process. But we got to the stage in January last year when the Secretary General of the World Customs Organisation formally announced that 11 programs were actually accredited as being recognised as appropriate for the customs profession. So whoever holds those awards are recognised as being customs professionals. So we finally got to that stage. There have been a number of programs run from Canberra, and we've worked with some other universities as well. But in terms of the customs administrations, the student numbers have been piecemeal. We might have 5 students from one and 4 from another, but we have them from all around the world. However, in Sri Lanka, there's been a real interest in the program, and there's been a huge take-up. In fact, tomorrow we'll have 60 people graduating with the Master of Customs Administration. It's being offered through the PIM, which is with the University of Sri Lanka.
That's right.
And so we have 60 students who will be graduating. Now, 52 of those are from Sri Lankan Customs. Another 5 of those are from the Maldives Customs, and we have 3 from the private enterprise as well. Now, so it is the first time that such a large number from a single administration has come together and graduated, and because of that, the Secretary General of the World Customs Organisation will be at the convocation to see that.
So it's not just progress that we're seeing, it's a large number of individuals coming together. So now, especially being the Deputy Director of Sri Lanka Customs, Mr. Ravindra Kumar, if you can speak about how exactly all these facilities have been extended, especially through the University of Sri Lanka. If you can speak and especially give an outlook as to how the Sri Lankan response has been?
Yeah, in fact, it was a long struggle.
That's right.
And at one stage, the stage was set that it is going to be relocated to another elsewhere.
All right.
But prudent thinking on the part of the Sri Lanka Customs Administration paved the way to have this program in Sri Lanka. And as Professor Widdowson correctly said, from a single administration, 52 people at one single occasion graduating on this Masters of Customs degree. That means it's a work-related program. It's not merely an academic one.
That's right.
And the skill projects, what we did, all paved the way for a better customs administration, which the Sri Lankan government thriving to have. Actually, when you think of the knowledge-based Sri Lankan customs, That is the need of that day. And it was a long struggle for the Sri Lanka custom to make it a professionalism. And when you think of the international landscape,
That's right.
the way customs was functioning may not be the same when the time comes. The changings are taking place very rapidly. Unless the customs is geared to face the challenges, it's very difficult to carry on. Adjust. So this is the best opportunity we got, and we were lucky because I'm one of the graduate within the 52 customs colleagues, and another batch is almost completing in the next year. And with this, we hope to have a knowledge-based customs intact.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Ramendra, you just highlighted the fact that you yourself, you'll be part of the convocation that will take place tomorrow. So how has that experience been, taking part and being part of this postgraduate degree? So if you can give us a first-hand idea as to what kind of skills have been cultivated through this particular area?
Yeah, to be frank, because the customs, if you take the long history of customs, is about almost 200 years plus. And we have been, our main responsibility is revenue mobilization.
That's right.
Of course, being in the developing country, that is the most important function in the customs administration. But for the time being, for a long time, it has been the landscape or the role or the scope of the customs is being, changed. But we didn't have that mindset to change, because traditionally we were asked to, give revenue.
Exactly.
So now things are changing. There are so many strategic drivers. The first and the most benefit we got out of this MCO program, we were able to see the things differently.
Exactly.
And all this time we were having some sort of what you can call it inward looking. We only look at the customs and the revenue and so
scenario.
on. So now we have our scope of thinking outside, and we go to the extent of see what is happening, what is the best practices, what are the benchmarks outside the customs administration, and how this customs administration is coping. And not only that, we adjust, but we have to see that it is being sustainable.
That's right.
That is the most important thing. So that gave a lot of courage for us to think differently, act differently, and the perception, and that can make a vast improvement, not only among the graduate who are going to graduate tomorrow, the entire customs setup.
The entire department,
it's going to be some sort of a benchmark.
A boon, yes. Boon. All right. Now, heading back towards the topic of the customs department and the service that customs provide. Now, some of us have a very narrow perspective that when we're checking in, just checking the bags and just passing through. So let's talk about the service itself. What do you mean by saying customs and working in the customs?
Well, that's a very interesting issue, because when I was first trying to introduce a master's program at the University of Canberra, I remember sitting around a table, and there was a group of professors, and they were quizzing me on why we should do this. And one of them said, Dr. Widdowson, he said, why do we need a master's program to teach people how to search bags? And that's the perception. But in these days, with the World Trade Organization, the focus on trade facilitation, the focus on supply chain security, intellectual property rights, there's a lot of issues that are around that. There are many aspects of border management that customs is responsible for. So it's a very complex area indeed. But you're right. People have that perception about opening bags, and so in a sense this is also about changing the perception of the public in terms of what the customs service does for the country.
Yes, indeed. So it's a very important thing that we can make sure that especially the Sri Lankan department will be well equipped for the task. Now, talking about that particular area, if we speak about that in detail, now we were talking about the postgraduate degree that the University of Jawaharlal is facilitating. What exactly can we say about the minimum degree qualifications or minimum qualifications they need to enroll? And of course, the response from the government. Now, definitely their backing is needed. Let's talk about that in detail.
Yeah, normally these undergraduates are being recruited to the customs service, plus another 10 years service in the customs department will qualify them to sit into this master's program. And especially we are lucky and honored to have this program sponsored by the Sri Lankan Customs Department, because partly the financial matter was being sponsored by the department itself. So that's apart from the money, we take it as an honor and recognition of the degree itself. And when it comes down to this perception of the public, we at the frontiers enforce about 80 legislations of different institutions. So it's so complex and never changing. Every time we used to make things easy for the public, there are a lot of things we have to coordinate with other organizations as well. So that is a challenging job, and I hope and sincerely pray this program will make us more comfortable to work with any situation and whatever the challenges we may have. And especially at this crucial juncture where we have three important things are happening around the Customs Department. We are intend to shift or relocate our head office to one of the state-of-the-art building. I think it's one of the best in the Asian region. So when we go to the new building, we hope the process and procedures should be new to suit the environment. That is one. And we had a reorganization of structure in the Customs Department later part of last year. So that is also will work unless the knowledge based and the people who are capable of doing things. Just changing structure will not do unless it is delivered and sustained. That is number two. And we have acceded to World Customs Organization, what we call the revised Kyoto Convention, right, where we are obliged to make a standard and well managed customs services. That's an obligation on the part of the Sri Lanka Customs. So these three things will make sure see the light with the graduations of these input people who are graduating tomorrow. So that's the best time. I think nothing would have been a better way.
Yes, indeed. Now, we were talking about how exactly Sri Lanka is trying to promote the customs service, especially through this postgraduate degree conducted through the University of Jawaharlal. As an individual, a professor in this particular area, and an individual who has been aspiring to take it to that level, how do you see Sri Lanka's progress, especially the facilities that have been extended to promote this particular avenue?
I think it's tremendous. It's really good to see, and I must say that the customs service in Sri Lanka is very professional. We deal with about 100 different administrations around the world, and they are absolutely at the top of the professional list.
Lovely. Extremely positive things to hear at the end of a conversation. So once again, thanking you ever so much, Professor David Pedersen of the University of Canberra, as well as the Deputy Director of the Sri Lanka Customs, Mr. Ravindra Kumar. It was a pleasure indeed, and congratulations for tomorrow as you do graduate with this postgraduate degree. We'll have to say goodbye for the day, wishing you a lovely day ahead. Do keep safe.